Pro tip, if a police officer tells you to drop the gun, I'd suggest you do so. Hi friends, welcome to today's bonus badge cam lesson here at Active Self Protection. I'm your host, John Correa, and with me as always, Mike Williver.
Today's video comes to us from New York City, New York.
The Storm Hunter WX weather app is free to download and use and provides you with warning of severe weather even before the National Weather Services issue alerts. This advanced weather app is an important tool for awareness of severe weather that I use every day. Download and use it totally free without in-app purchases on iOS or Android at the link below. 911 received a call from a man who said that a guy in a hoodie was chasing him down the street and he heard gunshots while the guy was chasing him. And so cops found that victim, put him in the car, and then took him down the road here to this park where he identifies the suspect we're about to see. We got multiple badge cams here. Let's listen in.
Sir, stop. Sir, stop. Hands up! Manos arriba! Manos arriba! Manos arriba!
Watch the cross! I'm not dropping nothing. Yo, drop the cross.
Shots fired. Hey, David, shots fired.
Yo, wash your fucking hands. You hear me? Take your hands out. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Put the gun down. Put the gun down. Drop the fucking gun. Drop the fucking gun.
Put your hands out of your pocket. Get your hands out of your pocket. Hey, hey!
He's got a gun? He's got a gun, he's got a gun! Yo, drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop it! Drop it! Drop it! Dude, drop it! Dude, drop the gun, dude! Drop the gun! Got a gun? He's out, Steve. He's down.
Get your hands out of your pocket. Get your fucking hands out of your pocket. Get your hands out of your pocket. Hey, hey! That's a gun, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. Hey! Get your hands, yo, get your hands out. Get your hands out. Drop the gun. Hey, drop the gun. Drop the fucking gun. Watch the cross, watch the cross. Yo, drop the gun. Oh shit. Oh shit. He's down, he's down, he's down.
The man was hit by the gunfire. It was a non-life-threatening wound. They did find a handgun on him. We've got some lessons here, but not before you know that this man faced a plethyscopia of charges. I know you're gonna have questions about the fact that this guy didn't seem to raise the gun at the officers, so what the heck is that all about? Let's talk about it. I think some people are going to say this one's a tough one, but obviously they know this guy is a threat to public safety, or they have strong inclination that this guy has a gun and that he has lit off some gunshots in the neighborhood. And so I guess kind of in the beginning, Mike, here that I get it that we got multiple officers here and they're pretty amped up.
Absolutely. This, they got the call, like you said. Shots have been fired. They have a victim stating, yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, he shot in the air. He shot at me. He shot at somebody. So this is a very tense situation. Absolutely.
I also think great reason to have a very bright handheld light and a very bright pistol mounted light for all officers. In this kind of a situation, you've got to be able to see, and more is better. Now, of course, I know everybody's going to want to talk about, and people are going to say, wait a minute, why did they choose to shoot him in this moment? But quite frankly, knowing that, again, this guy is an identified perp who has taken shots at a member of the public. They've given him multiple commands to put the gun down and to put his hands up. He literally said, I'm not putting nothing down. And again, at that point, he is a non-compliant subject with a deadly weapon in his hand who has committed aggravated assault against a member of the public. And so I don't have a problem with this shooting, Mike, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
The three pillars of whether it's okay to shoot: means, opportunity, and intent. He obviously has the means. There's a gun in his hand. Opportunity, he has the opportunity, obviously. The intent, I think we have solidified intent with the words, I'm not dropping nothing. So now we have a person who's not in our custody. He's wandering around with a gun. He showed the intent to shoot the gun and endanger the public. Do we have to wait until he raises the gun to us or someone else to shoot him? It's a good question. It could be debated for days. I say no. At this point, another member of the public could come into view. He could take a hostage. He could shoot at any moment. To raise that gun and get up around at one of these officers takes less than a second. So do we want to wait around until he does that? I don't, frankly.
Yeah, I totally agree. I will say the one thing here, I would really encourage, designate one person as the talker, right? The only thing I would say, they're talking over each other an awful lot. If you hear somebody else talking, let them talk. You don't join that talking. Now, I also am going to say this. Kudos to this officer, to Officer Torres here, whose a handheld light is being used effectively. Hallelujah. We call this out all the time, and we actually see here a very bright handheld light so that the officer can see what's going on and has the gun driven out with one hand. Now, I do think this is a great reminder for officers why I would prefer a pistol-mounted light for police officers, because you chase goblins into dark places. And so having a pistol-mounted light is good, but I think that Officer Torres here, use of the handheld light was primo.
Yeah, I would love to have seen it get a little bit ahead of her shooting him, but that's really a nitpick at this point. I want to say it's a nice bright light too. That's just critical. We were defeating the photonic barriers. It's kind of a dynamic lighting environment right here, and she did exactly what you said. I think if we are going to use a handheld light, if we don't have a weapon-mounted light, we want to see a nice bright light she has in this situation. I think well done. Yeah, I agree with you.
And I would encourage all officers to make sure that they have practiced different techniques with the handheld light when you're shooting one-handed, so that you're not trying to make it up as you go. This is kind of like a modified FBI that she's using right here, which isn't a perfectly acceptable technique, but recognize the fact that, hey, maybe I've got different options here so that you know what the best thing, because she did bring that back and kind of back towards herself when the shooting happens here, which actually I think from a shooting perspective, from that kind of either a neck index, a cheek index, a temple index probably makes best sense. And that's what we see here, is that she has good light on the subject, but also can see her sights because she's got a little bit of illumination on her, and that's a good thing. I also think it's interesting that both officers seemingly chose to shoot at basically the same moment. So within about a quarter to a half a second of each other, they both decided, nope, this is the time that I got to get this guy. I do think that Officer Torres here has a really, really great backstop in this moment. Notice how dark it is. I've got, water behind him, so that I've got probably the best backstop, as opposed to some others who have the lit stuff across the bay there. So watch your backstop. It's not an easy thing to do in a real-life defensive encounter.
Yeah, absolutely. And backing up just a minute to where she was walking, advancing on this guy with one hand, you can see the gun moving around. This is why we want two hands on the gun. So please, if your department approves it, please get a weapon-mounted light for this sort of reason.
And this is, again, why we think we, really like those for police officers. Not so much necessary for private citizens, but very much necessary for police officers. And again, mission drives the gear train. While you're on duty, absolutely important here. Now, want to say this officer here, a thing to be cautious of. Difficult to do in the moment, but look at what is just in front of him and off to his right, which is a fellow officer. So we got priority of fire problems here. So, we got multiple officers that are all flanking this guy, trying to keep him from getting away from us. But it doesn't take much time, much movement by the perp or movement by your partner to get your partner in the line of fire. So if you can maintain enough awareness and paying attention to your world, getting up online with your fellow officers, so then that way you don't have a priority of fire problem, keeps fratricides from happening, keeps blue on blue injuries from happening. And whether you're a cop or a private citizen, I think that's an important thing to consider.
Yeah, like you said, this crook decides to take off running straight ahead, and or our partner here to the right decides to move left for whatever reason, and shooting starts. It gets very, very foggy very, very quickly. So even though right now it looks like, okay, he's got plenty of room, no problem. If the shooting starts, people start moving around quickly. It gets very dynamic, and you could accidentally shoot your partner. That's what we don't want to have happen.
And so again, see all the other three officers there that are on camera, all kind of had a online with each other, and then this last one, not so much. So again, the last thing I want to reiterate here, you heard all of them kind of giving commands and giving different commands. Put your hands up, drop the gun, stop, do this, do that. establish one person as the communicator if you can. And if you can't establish that ahead of time, if somebody else is talking, shut up and let them talk. Just be there to act if you need to, rather than add to the cacophony. Although I will say, in the end of things, I think these guys are probably as good at NYPD badge cam as we've seen in a while, Mike.
Yeah, I agree. I think these nitpicks are just that. They're nitpicks. They did a fantastic job, and they made sure this guy didn't hurt anybody else. I think they covered their ass.